You know when it's serious, when we pull the bad boys out. Here's a tip when you're warming up for deadlifts. Find out what your specific imbalances are. So mine is I have trouble sitting down because I have tight ankles and tight feet. So what I do before I deadlift, I band my feet so I can get my hip flexors working, my shins working. So it helps me pull myself down in my deadlift. So I just do 15 to 20 reps of me just pulling my knee up with a banded. And that helps me warm my hip flexors up so I can sit down a little bit better in my deadlift. You don't realize that your ankles, your feet, your shins, they play a big role in your deadlift and your start position. So just analyze your own form, realize that there's actually things that are imbalances. Everybody has different imbalances. Once you isolate those and figure those out, do the workouts before that kind of balances those imbalances out.
I don't even really know where I'm at right now, man.
Well, we gonna see
Is this
today.
a gym?
And put you in a jiu-jitsu mat though.
I know exactly where I'm at. All right, guys. I ain't deadlifted in over a month and a half, probably 2 months. Chris is here. He's gonna give me some instructionals.
Let's go.
All right, don't feel totally foreign.
It's like riding a bike.
I never owned a bike.
Childhood traumas.
Volume 1. Are you guys those types of lifters where like you really can't lift the weight if the bar's not like bro, let me get my protractor out. This has to be straight. I can't do it. It still feels good. I can dig it. Do you ever get irritated when it's like not lined up perfectly?
Dude, that's like my worst. Oh my God.
Like listen, like I want to go home.
Well, you know what's the worst is when you're like going super heavy and it's just like fucking slanted, so you just have to have your whole body go slant too. That's the fucking worst.
You set it down so soft.
I know. Until I get mad and I start throwing that shit around.
My favorite thing is, I'm gonna plug the video. When you're in that video, you're like, fuck this shit, bitch ass motherfucker. I was like, oh God, oh Jesus, he's angry.
That guy's angry.
That guy's really upset. I'll never grow up. I'll never grow up. Listen to me. I'll never grow up.
Easy money.
I promise.
How you been liking the jiu-jitsu?
Bro, I love it, man.
Really?
I love it. I gotta be careful though, because I keep saying shit like, man, I love getting choked out. And I'm like, whoa.
I've been saying that shit since high school.
Whoa. That's not what I meant.
I don't know if I did jiu-jitsu or...
Bro, I can't wait till you... Guys. Chris is gonna do jiu-jitsu with us. Do you understand? Hold on. Do you understand how excited I am for when this man gets on the mat and starts dominating people? Look at him. Look. Just look. Can you?
He's just trying to lay down and hug on me. That's all he wants.
He always said he wanted to be a better hugger.
Hey.
Jiu-jitsu is just the art of professional hugs. That's all it is. It's the art of folding clothes with people still in them.
Well, it's all fun until someone gets a boner.
That makes it even better. It's another point of contact.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Oh yeah. You won right maxes today?
We're the 45. Well, it's whatever I hit. Yeah, for sure. All right, boys, we're starting to get into deep waters. I haven't touched 4 in over 2 months. Every time I say it, it gets longer. I'm like, I haven't deadlifted in 3 days. I haven't deadlifted in 6 months.
I haven't deadlifted pre-Christ.
Before I came out the womb.
Easy money with a nod of approval. Let's answer the age-old question: why do I wear sandals while I deadlift? Besides me being Islander, which is like 99% of the reason. When you're deadlifting, you always want to have flat feet, almost like you're connected to the floor. So that's why most people use like Chucks or some Vans, you know what I mean? But they're a little bit elevated, so it almost puts you at like a deficit. Sandals is like a ½ inch or maybe lower than that. So I feel as most contacted to the floor with sandals, I get to spread my toes, have my whole feet screwed into the floor, and that's where real power comes from. It's stable. You can't be powerful without being stable. You increase your stabilization, increase your power. All right, let's get a little aggressive, why don't we? Let's get it, Reggie. Yeah, buddy.
Still got it.
You still got it. All right, let's talk deadlift technique. I'm gonna give you guys my checklist of what I go through when I deadlift, and hoping that maybe it'll click an aha moment with you guys, so you guys can see exactly how your form should be, and then what your emphasis should be while you're deadlifting. So when I walk up to the bar, the first thing I think is I need to give my shins enough space for my knees to come forward so I can sit down and get some leg drive. So I always start out with cutting my toes off with a bar, second step is that when I'm thinking about my core engagement or how I want to sit down in my deadlift, the number one thing I want to think about is I want quad engagement. You want to be able to push off the floor, all right? So before I actually sit down and try to engage my quads to show myself exactly what the technique I want to do, I breathe out all my air on my belt. So core engagement is everything in your deadlift. You don't want to feel pressure in your lower back. You want to put all the pressure in your front, rectus abdominis, and then your obliques. So you want to be able to breathe out on your belt, all right? So right before I go down, I breathe out all my air. That brings my rib cage down and it condenses my core down, all right? So once I breathe my air out, then I squat down. When I squat down, I'm showing myself the start position where I want to be when I start my deadlift. So I breathe out, then I squat down. Now I feel my quads engaged. I'm not exactly where I want to be in my start position, but my quads are firing right now when I'm in this position. So here, my air's all blown out. Then I'm using straps, so I'm gonna strap up right here. So right after I strap up, I know that I'm in a good position, but you see how far away the bar is from my shins? So this is gonna leave enough room for my knees to come forward and me to pull the slack out. So the last thing I do before I go is I breathe in through my belt, so I expand out through my obliques, turn my elbows back, and that naturally pulls the slack out of the bar. The last thing I do is push my knees forward, and then I push out the floor. So this is what it looks like. Easy money.
Okay, it's my tutorial. All right, just survive. Just make it through.
Survival.
Okay? We just need to make it to tomorrow. When you're lifting with Chris, just make it to tomorrow. That's all you got to do.
There you go. Yes, sir. Woo! And when I leave, come together like butt cheeks.
Jesus.
Yes, sir.
So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna edit my video and put the 6 on.
Yeah. Hey, you can do that shit nowadays.
I know facts. They gonna have me lifting more than you in this video.
Yeah, bro. Hey, shit. World record shit,
yeah,
man.
I know facts.
Look at this fucking money. Easy money, bitch. There you go. Hips down. There, good job. I go one more, let's go. Hips down, leg drive, hips down, leg drive. Go. There it is, good job. You know what's hard about 6 plates? Nothing. Let me photocrop this. Shit, you were smoking that shit before, weren't you?
Keyword before. Before. In the before 4 times.
Easy. So you got one more. Come on, run it up. Good job. All right, I'm about to take you guys through the most beneficial accessory for your deadlift. So this is a complete isolation of your posterior chain. So if you're someone who's lacking in your hamstrings, your glute, and your lower back area, use this exercise to build up that whole posterior chain. So if you have the pleasure of having a GHD in your gym, which is a glute ham developer, this is what it is. This one is a double on a reverse hyper and a glute ham developer. If you have one of these, utilize these as much as possible. So all you're gonna do on these is you're gonna have a barbell. Obviously, if you're a beginner or you're just starting out, you wanna start with body weight, just a regular back extension on the GHD. But if you're someone who's either moderate to elite level and you're just trying to really blast yourself through those plateaus and really get those weaknesses, your strengths, you're gonna use a barbell. So we call this barbell GHD deadlifts, all right? So we're gonna have a barbell right here. What you wanna think about while you're doing it is how to condense your core down and keep your core thick, and then being able to hinge your hips and then isolating your hamstrings, your glutes, and your lower back. So when you're getting up, obviously you're just putting your feet up in the stirrups. You wanna put the leg length so that where your hip is right at the end of this, so that you're actually hinging. It'll make it a lot easier to hinge. So when I'm going here, where my hip is right here, so that you see that's on the edge of this. So I'm grabbing the barbell here, and then I want to think about condensing my core down. So you see how I drove my rib cage down into my stomach, squeezing, and then as I pull up, I want to pull back on the barbell so it's engaging my lats. So when I'm coming up, pulling back and getting my body parallel to the floor, coming down, getting a stretch, coming back into the next rep. This is also a really good developer of your lats, learning how to keep the bar close to your body while you're deadlifting. The most important part about this is that you don't try to hyperextend. So what it looks like, you don't want to come up here and then try to hyperextend your lower back, because that compression actually will mess your lower back even more than flexing it. Ooh, I almost died.
Jesus.
Life-changing.
Defeated.
Now let's see you watch get off.
Oh, Jesus. Ma'am. Get a hand? No? Okay. Hand? No? All right.
All right, so when getting on the GHD for doing GHD sit-ups, the two things you want to worry about is having your hip right against this edge so that you can actually hip crease. And then while you're going, you want to be able to pull the bar back as you're extending up because you want to learn how to use your lats to keep the bar close to your body. So this is also a lat building exercise as well. So I'll give you guys a visual. Having your hip right up against this crease right here so that I can hinge easier and I don't have to extend from my lower back. And so when I'm pulling up and extending, I'm pulling the bar back to my body so I get my lats engaged. We don't want to have the bar up here like that because that's where to hurt ourselves. So every time we're going, pulling back to our body. Making sure that our body gets parallel to the floor and you're not hyperextending. So hyperextending would look like this as I'm trying to have my lower back extend way too much, and that compression causes more injury than the flexion, so that scared cat look. All right, this is the second exercise or accessory that's my favorite in building a stronger posterior chain that would help with your deadlift. This one was actually created by Louis Simmons. If you don't know who Louis Simmons is, he's the one that created GHD Barbell. He made conjugate super popular, and that's probably one of the primary training styles for powerlifting for a long time until more education came into linear progression and like linear progression waves and stuff like that. But shout out to Louis Simmons. He passed away, I think last year or 2 years ago. But the reverse hyper was created because he actually broke his back during powerlifting. And then he said, what kind of device can I create to strengthen my lower back so I can handle the loads of the demands of powerlifting? And so this is what he came up with. So essentially what you're gonna do is the opposite of what the GHD is doing. So if you're facing this way on the GHD with the feet in the stirrups, you're actually facing this way now. So you're actually gonna put your hip crease right here on this edge. You're gonna put your feet into these loops right here. And then you're gonna hold on to these handles up there. So most of the time these machines are two separate machines. You either have a reverse hyper and you have a glute hamstring, but I think this machine is a Rogue machine. Rogue decided to make two of them and put them into one machine. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put our feet in the stirrups or into the little loop, hip crease on the edge, hold on to the handles, and there's two different ways that you could do this machine. You can either do it dynamically, which is it's the way that it was made to do. So you scoop your hips underneath and then you swing up to get more dynamic effort through your lower back, or you can do it slow and control, which is the way that I like to do it, especially if you've never done this before, because it can pull on your lower spine a lot. So all we're gonna do is take it slow, get a good stretch of our lower spine, lumbar, and then come up and get an extension in our lower back, squeeze our glutes, hamstrings, our whole posterior chain, and then control that whole movement. So I'll show you that way right now. So we're here in this position. I can feel my back lightly stretching. So what I'm gonna do is gonna pull up, squeeze. I'm gonna feel my hamstrings, my glutes firing. I'm gonna come back down, slow and controlled. Stretch, pull right back to the next one. Warning you, this does not feel good at all. And then when you start getting really good at this, the way that you do it dynamically is actually a swing. So you scoop underneath, scoop up, extend, scoop up. Either way, they suck. In the powerlifting community, these two exercises are like fucking staples. But then there's this new wave of like powerlifters that are coming in that they don't really know much about powerlifting. And then they're just going off of what TikTok says. So like, all these TikTok creators are making all these workouts and they're honestly overthought and just they're not really utilized when it comes to strength training. But this is the stuff that OGs have been using for 20, 30 years that really develop your body to be strong and to move a lot of weight. And the new TikTok crowd that's educating themselves through TikTok or like Instagram Reels, they have yet to see these type of things that the OGs have done, because the OGs don't like making videos. Like they're at an age right now that they're like, fuck all the video shit. Like they hate how the creator world is going right now, so they just don't want to feed into it. But I'm a little bit of both. I'm a little bit of OG, I'm a little bit creator. So I want to make sure that I'm giving all the information possible for the people that are looking to gain as much strength as possible and then put their body in a really good position to be strong. I want to give you guys everything that I know that's built me, that's built all my world record holder athletes, anyone who I've ever coached to be really great at the sport. And hopefully that makes a huge difference for you guys. And it'll help kind of unsaturate the market in terms of creators just making shit up just to make them feel or look good or get views. That stuff is all cool and dandy until people aren't getting strong and they're not getting useful information. Then now you become a detriment to the fitness industry. I want to make sure that I'm giving the right information to make this actually become a better fitness industry. All right, so we went over deadlift. I gave you guys a couple cues on how to get your deadlift up, how to have better technique. And went over the two of my favorite exercises to build your deadlift up. So the reverse hyper and the GHD deadlifts. I hope that everything that helped today, and I hope that it helps to build a bigger deadlift. Make sure to subscribe for more videos, and I'll do my best to put out the best content I can.